Okay, this is just a small one, a bonus here on the meme review that I've done here recently for the 4th of July and Independence, if you will. And so, talking about 4th of July topics and things that have been going on, President Trump had a little get together, pretty much impromptu, real quickly, but set up nicely for Mount Rushmore, famous place. I went to when I was a kid, beautiful place. And he had a speech that was pretty important, but also they did a flyover of the history of air warfare. And of course, Caucasians created airplanes and everything that goes along with it. We've shared it with everybody, and now I've got to deal with it. But that's another statement altogether. But then they showed a fireworks display, and like the Bellagio Hotel, how those water is, jetted on motors. They did that, but with fireworks. It was pretty cool. It wasn't as long as some displays and everything, but I think it was supposed to have been good enough, concise, but woo-wah in what it was. And basically, what I watched, it looked like they almost cut it off, like they, I'm not gonna go watch any more of that. But there was a group of protesters who tried to get in front of Trump coming there because he had flown by. If you saw this, it was pretty cool. He took the president's airplane, which my dad helped build out over here, by the way, and flew it around and did a low flyby around. First flew over it, getting a shot, and that would be an incredible picture to take. I can't wait for a picture of that to show up. But then he flew in over the crowd over and everything, and kind of low too. You could say it was a little dangerous, but this is literally the most repaired and kept up with plane that there probably is on American soil, and the people flying it and everything else. But of course, weird things could happen. But regardless of that, but these protesters turned and tried to park the way, and I guess they didn't realize that Secret Service gets way ahead. But they came and got them out of the way. Somebody went out there. They went out there and cut the valve stems of their tires of these vans that they had uh, apparently rented. So they only did one wheel, which was no big deal. So Secret Service got there, just pushed them all the way. Before Trump even got there at all, they had them loaded up and towed off. And I think they're going to have to still pay for their thing and stuff. And I think they were arrested too, by the way. But and good on them. Why would anybody try to protest anything on the actual 4th of July? You're not going to get very much sympathy from anybody. So you would just be the whiny idiot on parade. They showed a video of a couple of people with multicolored hair hyperventilating and crying, but that's neither here nor there. Many people tried to jump on the bandwagon of hate and trying to talk about the national anthem and just anything they could to bring up despair instead of unity for some reason. And old Colin Kaepernick here put out a statement which you can read yourself for it, but he says that they've been brutalized and criminalized and terrorized by America for centuries. So he's not blaming white people like he has up until this moment. He's changed it now, and now the land is attacking him, which isn't going to get any play from the news, of course, because the land is dark soil, and so that's not going to work for him too well. That won't play out well. But he says that they, it's over exaggerated, I guess, but he says they're expected to join in the commemoration of your independence. And yeah, it was the independence that we took from there, but that led to probably the only way it happened, and for the whole world, for them to be an independent people in America. Now, they weren't supposed to stay. Lincoln said that he wanted him to go back, that it would never work out professionally in some of his speeches, but he got killed, and then something happened. Someone still needs to explain to me how that worked out, but he says we reject your celebration of white supremacy and look forward to liberation for all. Well, I don't know if you're aware or not, but there is liberation for all already. That's the reason everybody is just crying to get into America while you're crying about it. And that's just kind of sad. But you say a celebration of white supremacy, and I thank you for acknowledging it. Finally, I guess it's must be acknowledging it. But he acts that way now. But before he got his Chinese tennis shoe deal, where he's making millions off of Chinese underage children making shoes, which, if you'll remember, there was an Old Glory shoe, and he thought that was racist somehow. But you could make one about black people, and that's not racist. So if it's about white people, it's racist. But if it's about black people, that's not. You see how this works? If you don't try knocking yourself in the head with a hammer about 6 times, and then that's still not going to work for most of you, I know. But liberation for all, well, that's what America's about. And we're realizing now maybe it shouldn't be so openly fluffy. So how did you just feel a couple of years ago, Colin? Did Have you been acting like this, or was just this is this year's ploy, and before you didn't act a fool and take knees and stuff? Well, suddenly, this is what you say. And that sucks. Hmm. Have a blessed day. Are you hoping that you get blessed by the Caucasian God of the Bible? One wonders if that's going to be a problem too. And how much pandering people should do to recent primitives in their bid to get going, finally, if you will. But that's not such good memes here we're looking at. We're just looking at somebody who contradicts themselves when given the opportunity. For this is probably the better meme here. For this is nice. Let me do a little setup on this. I've got the volume kind of up, but it's bad volume and a helicopter too, and people talking over that. What you're looking at is a helicopter view of LA, the suburbs of LA, all the palm tree laden streets and stuff like that, right? And this was a July 4th night for the outlawed fireworks, and they weren't going to have even a professional display that people could just walk outside and look at as usual or anything like that. And they tried to say they outlawed them. And apparently millions and millions of dollars were spent by local households to ensure that, screw you, we still have our 4th of July. Now look at this as it goes. Our local fire departments and police departments have been begging people not to do this, right, but it seems tonight they are not listening to those calls. Well, they're putting out new warnings on social media. I mean, they're saying safe and sane are even banned in a majority of cities in LA County, not to mention the city of LA has a ban as well. We know many of the public shows have been canceled, so we've done stories on this. More people have been, unfortunately, setting off illegal fireworks. I mean, it is quite the sight. So she admits it is quite the sight, and she goes on to admit that it's beautiful and neat, but it is illegal, and that they put all kinds of stuff on social media that they're supposed to try to control you, and that they told you not to do it. And I think it's hilarious. I live right here near a school. That's why we kind of got the house here when my kids are growing up, but that's long gone. But anyhow, and every year, and we used to do it too when they were kids, and set off fireworks. Oh yeah, we had a sparkler thing, and a piece of the sparkler fell on one's foot one year, and we learned about burning. Yeah, that happens. You know, it happened to me. It happens to everybody through the process of it. But they also learned how cool and pretty it was. Boom, it's scary. Well, if you know it's going to happen, it's not really, and look at it go. And it's one way of blowing off steam and doing something. And after all this blocking up, you can tell that people were ready and eager to do something. For if you haven't been watching the news the past couple of months, people lost their freaking mind. And what's ironic is, coming out of the other people being on lockdown too, they decided, oh, I guess that's okay then, and decided to do this incredible stupidity that's gone on. But it's amazing, this fireworks display that they show here, that goes on, and literally described as millions of dollars spent. Like these guys had they didn't know if it would really take off, and oh, it did take off. In fact, they sold more than they ever usually do, and all this stuff to make this happen. And of course, you can imagine that the LA is going to try to freak out on it, but they've had for years and will not change it. That they have fireworks display stands that are just outside of city limits. Everything's is legal and everything. They tried to say something's illegal and you can't celebrate the 4th, and Americans said, sure, okay. So again, as we go out, we'll just take a little view of this and look at them going off just in the distance. Now, normal fireworks displays are just one place, but these are blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks of just rippling and going off. It's just crazy. I mean, what an incredible display. And they all got into it and just started going like crazy. I mean, it's go, America, go. I would say that this is the most American thing that we've had happen in a while, and it needed to happen, and it should have happened everywhere. Like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy. Sorry it's a small one, but just a bonus. Peace.